طريقنا نبذ التطرف دائما قولا فعلا واعتقادا.
Never fall, never crawl, yeah, we're moving up. Want it more, let it pour until we fill our cup. Never giving up before it's over. Never counting on them four-leaf clovers. Taking names, throwing flames till we burn it down. In the mud, uppercut, yeah, we're breaking ground. Never giving up before it's over. Never counting on them four-leaf clovers. Come on, all my soldiers, do it like I told you. We ain't gonna stop. So come on, put your hands up. Come on, put your hands up.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To all you, our viewers, how are you all doing? And help in the inshallah. So I also welcome our viewers from other corners of the world, our brothers and sisters in Albania, Turkey, and as well as in Malaysia, of course. As well. I would like to say some foreign language. Merhaba, inshallah. So all praise to here. We meet again in our program Beyond Pages. We praise Allah for His countless bounties, His mercy and His compassion, and that we are still alive as a Muslim to serve Him as His Khalifa or Vicegerent and His obedient servant, inshallah. My name is Hassan Shahidi bin Abdul Rahman. I am your host today, inshallah. I will do my best to conduct and moderate this program so that all of us will gain so much benefit, inshallah. So before we start, for any of you who may be joining us for the first time in our program today, you guys might be asking, what is Beyond Pages? Well, I would like to say, true to its name, Beyond Pages is a sharing session, and it's a discussion, it's a dialogue where we talk, we discuss, and we communicate each other about things or issues beyond the contents of books. Because this is so in order to have a deeper understanding and analysis of a particular issue at hand. So we also exchange views so that at the end of the day, we may translate our discussion into action. And perhaps many of us reading books become their best favorite pastimes, but this good practice or this good habit that we have are not meant to be left as merely an information gathering, but it must be used to change the world that we live in. So I believe, inshallah, good readers are also essentially a good leaders. So previously we have organized few series in this program where we discuss the contents from the book, The Case of Israel, with brother Said Fatih. So tonight, and in Malaysia tonight, and in Turkey in the afternoon, we will have another special session where we will discuss about the issue of the grave discrimination of Uyghur people. As our title suggests, we will discuss the tragedy of the Uyghur persecution and what is not known from the world and what China is really hiding from us. So, brother and sister, ladies and gentlemen, this issue is really, from my perspective, this issue is really not be given a spotlight or highlight it deserves, because many Muslim countries in the world choose to stay silent because of the Chinese pressure from the China government. Thus, I think it is right and appropriate we bring this topic and this issue to our program today, especially to our fellow Malaysians, because this issue have not been discussed and be brought up in mainstream media in Malaysian society. For a few years, for a few years, we have heard the report of many Uyghurs being held in internment camps by force. Some say it is at least 1 million people are being detained. They are restricted to perform their religious duties. They have been banned from naming their children with Muslim names, banned from prayer, from fasting. Veils and beards are also being banned. Uyghur language, there are some reports that Uyghur language also has been wiped out. Women has been sterilized, or forced abortion, forced labor, and also there are accounts of mass brainwash for Uyghur people to denounce their religion. So it is we can say it is an extermination of Uyghur people, a genocide of cultural and identity. So, brother and sister, let me introduce our special guest today. Our speaker in this program is essentially, we brought special from the Uyghur community. He is from the Uyghur people. He is directly affected by this oppression. Let me start with some history about our speaker today. In 2014, he was arrested by Chinese police and was viciously interrogated for 2 days without any crime. The next year, he was arrested again for 75 days and faced with different kind of oppression. After getting out of prison, he struggled to flee China to save his. Eventually, alhamdulillah, he reached Turkey in 2016 with many sacrifices needed to be made. Inshallah, probably when we start our session, our brother will explain in detail the harsh condition he have faced before. He has also lost contact with his family. He also heard news that his father was sent to camps and his little brother was arrested by the police. Right now, he has no idea about his family members, whether they are alive or not. Currently, he is an activist in Eastern Turkistan New Generation Movement. He holds the position of Secretary General of the same organization, which is what I said before, the Eastern Turkistan New Generation Movement. He also a project manager of Blue Crescent Humanitarian Aid Association. He is now actively training the youth of Uyghur in exile, attend conferences representing the Uyghur youth to bring awareness and also create network with foreign association to bring about the awareness of the Uyghur condition. So, brother and sister, right now I present you Brother Abdullah Arman. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, brother?
Yes. Alhamdulillah. Fine.
Nice to meet you. And it is good to have you here with our audience. So, brother and sister, ladies and gentlemen, so after I have given some background, a brief background of our topic and the speaker that we will discuss with, we will begin our discussion. Today, we will focus on the history of the Uyghur people, their homeland, and the cause of the crisis. And inshallah, after we after we discuss about 1 hour with Brother Arman, inshallah, we will have a question and answer session with our audience in the live session. So, inshallah, I've been told by the organizer, this is only the first session. There will be a few other episodes with regards to this topic. All right, okay. Let's start. Can we start, Brother Arman?
Yeah, okay. First of all, I would like to express myself. First, all of the singers, I am very appreciate to all the brothers give me this opportunity to talk about unforgotten country, East Turkestan, and Uyghur Muslims, and our situation. Forgotten all the Muslims, also muted, all the country are muted for this issue. It's my honor to be join to you guys. Thank you, all of you.
Inshallah, thank you. We are also glad to have you here because this is a very important issue that, like I said before, we need to make sure the awareness is reached to Malaysia and also any other parts of the world. Before I pose you the first question, I just would like to have some brief question with you. How do we pronounce the word Uyghur? Is it right how I pronounce it?
The word Uyghur, we pronounce in our language, in Uyghur language, Uyghur.
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 This is Uyghur pronounce, and that's used in English language, Uyghur, as a pronounce Uyghur. Then also the writing Uyghur, like that. Before the Microsoft or other reports write the UIGH like that.
IGH.
Nowadays it's been began to use Uyghur.
Uyghur.
So we can pronounce Uyghur.
Uyghur. But I think it's perfectly fine if you say
for
the
many
way.
years it pronounced Uyghur.
Uyghur.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Alhamdulillah, we got the right person to say about how to pronounce your people's name or your country's name. Okay. So let's start with the basics about this issue, because I believe many people around the world, and especially in Malaysia, not really get the information right about this crisis and this issue. So let's start with the international community is aware of this discrimination of or cultural oppression of Uyghur people happens in Xinjiang, China, because in the few years back, starting from I think would be 4 or 5 years ago, news coming about the Uyghur people persecution gradually comes into the mainstream media. But that is all what we know. We know the persecution, the oppression, the ill treatment happens in Xinjiang, China. But some people, and I believe you as well, have been using the term Turkistan when referring to that area. So let's go to the basic and let's clear things up with our audience and with our viewers. What is Xinjiang and Turkistan? Is it the same person? Is it the same thing or the same area? Or if any difference, what is the difference between Xinjiang and Turkistan?
Okay. For the Uyghur population, Chinese report in 2015, they report the Uyghur population 12 million. 12 million, the Uyghur population 12 million. But at that time, we also estimate the Uyghur population in 2015 over than 30 million. Over than 30 million. Imagine the difference. You look at the difference between count. And also in 2018, the Chinese official reports in September write the Uyghur population decrease, and their population now the 6 to 7 million. They trying to hide the population, and they trying to decrease the Uyghurs population. So the difference, the number of Uyghur population like that. But the truth, we believe that Uyghur population more than 30 million. And also we have some research about it in 2015. Okay, and the East Turkestan, about 2 times of Turkey, or area, total area is total area 1,828,000 419 kilometers, over 1.5 million. It's 2 times of the Turkey, and one of the biggest country in the Central Asia.
Yeah, it's really big.
Yeah.
So actually, the what I can say is Xinjiang and Turkistan is the same area and same geography, right?
If you search the map, unfortunately, you can find East Turkestan. But if you search the Xinjiang, you can find, because of the Chinese government, brothers, most of the brothers now called Xinjiang. But nowadays, year to year, most of the countries begin to call East Turkestan or Uyghur land or Uyghurs country like that. If our brothers and sisters called the East Turkestan, we will be happy to that. And inshallah, we will hope we will set up our independent state, our country, and recall its own name, East Turkestan.
Inshallah. So actually, I think many people not really know the East Turkestan itself. So maybe we can ask you, what is the historical the history of Turkestan, and then what does the name Turkestan is related with Turkey, because the names quite have some connection and commonalities. And as we all know, Turkish people also backs Turkish Uyghur people's cause. So does this mean there is some connection between Uyghur and Turkish people?
Yeah, that's a good question. Most of brothers ask this question. What is the relationship the East Turkestan and with Turkey? Yeah, its name's Turkestan. It's similar to near to the Turkey. That's written is historically our nation, Uyghur nation. And today's Anatolian Turkey, maybe some of the brothers and sisters heard the news. Anatolian Turks, the Turk came from the Turkestan to Turkey. Anatolian Turks, the Turk also here in Turkey. Anatolian Turks and the Uyghurs belongs to the same race. In summary, Uyghurs and Turks actually came from the same race, same blood and same race. Even some resources argue that today's Anatolian Turks come from our land in East Turkestan. Maybe some of our brothers and sisters watch the Mo Ertuğrul. It's well known all over the world. Turkic Mo Ertuğrul. At the beginning of that film, brothers Ertuğrul left the trip, and Ertuğrul came to the Turkey. At that place is Turkestan, while the place is named Turkestan. Also, therefore, many politicians and many people call in Turkey, East Turkestan is our ancestors' land or our cradle. Yeah, Turkey is our motherland, and in Turkish language, Atayurt or fatherland, with the expressions of the Turkish people. Turkey is our motherland, and East Turkestan is our father or ancestors' land. So that the East Turkestan is called later after occupied the Chinese government with the East Turkestan, and the Turkic nations divided the many of the parties, many of the parties like Uzbek and Kazakh, Tajik, Kyrgyz, like that. So from that time, the East Turkestan called the East Turkestan, and Turkish people also the Turkey called the Turkey, and Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. Some of Turkic nations have their set up their own countries, but the East Turkestan and Uyghur people trying to many times and be able to set up own countries in 1933, but later the occupied the Chinese government.
So you have the blood of
and also
Turkey,
one point is
Turkey.
that I would like to add some point. Forgot in state of Kashgaria in 1867, Islamic state of Kashgaria is built in Kashgar and obeyed the Ottoman Empire in Osmanli Khilafah at that time. Also, from that time, also the East Turkestan is now the land of Turkic people. Yeah, so that if we research or if we tell something about the Turkish history, we have to start the history from the East Turkestan. We have the relationship Turkic nation at the beginning, from the beginning.
So you actually have bigger people or bigger nation within the Central Asia. So unfortunately, the other countries have been given statehood, but Turkestan is not being able to claim their own country. And so I believe there is a clear connection between Uyghur and Turkish people, as you say that even Ertugrul is your fatherland. Okay, so I would like to ask about okay, so geographically, okay, no, sorry. So China has named the region as Xinjiang according to history and map, and you said the original was Turkestan. So this is quite contrary to what is in the history and quite fishy. So what would you please explain the origin of the geographical area and the history of Turkestan geographically? So how it becomes an independent province or independent state within themselves.
Yeah, okay. Historically, our ancestors, I mean the Uyghurs and the Turkic nations, lived the East Turkestan, were called Hun or Göktürk in the names of the well known in Turkic history. Thousands of years ago, they called Hun or Göktürk, also the state, Göktürk state, and nations such as their independent states, such as Uzbek, Kyrgyz, Kazakh, Turkmen, Azeri, all of them lived before the BC. In the BC, yeah, lived as a tribe in the small areas in the one empire, such as Great Hun or Greek Göktürk, the Great Göktürk, shared the same name, Turk Göktürk or Great Hun, and use the same language and their religion also the same culture and customs, habits, daily life also the same. Most of the people know the Han, the nation Han, but actually they are the Turkic people. We know that the Uyghurs, also other Turkic nations, all of them from the Han and Göktürks. After Hun and Göktürks, we state the Uyghur state. Uyghur state also established in after the all the tribes lived under the administration of the Uyghur state. In Uyghur state is Central Asia was called simply Turkestan. The Uyghur states guide all of the at that time guide all of the Turkic nations, and they administered all of the centuries countries in Central Asia. At the end of the 19th century, due to internal and external conflicts, the lands of East Turkestan become the political interested center of the great powers. Great powers, I mean the Russia and Chinese government and US and other countries. And because of they powers and the East Turkestan, not at that time, not East Turkestan. Turkestan divided by the many parts, like Russian occupied the West Turkestan, and also the Chinese occupied our land is East Turkestan, and also other nations other Turkic nations be able to set up their own countries like Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Before that, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, all of the countries with the Uyghur state, and their names just Turkic people or Göktürk or Han Turk, and land of the Central Asia countries, Turkestan. So that if you ask the history of Bukhari, the Imam Bukhari, or other scholars at that time, they will we can see their country from Turkestan. Turkestan means maybe in Kashgar, one of the city of East Turkestan, or Bukhara, one of the city of Uzbekistan now. All of the countries just call it Turkestan. But after the divided by the China and Russian, the Turkic nations divide many parties. East Turkestan, in the East Turkestan, the first Turkic state in Hun Turk after the BC, Hun Turk, and Göktürk Empire also he's also one of the biggest Turkic empires in the history, and most of the Turkic empires established in East Turkestan, like Uyghur state, Karhalli state, Göktürk state, Hun state. Most of them controlled all the Turkic nations. The first Turkic state, except the Islam, was Abdul Karim Satuburahan. He accepted the Islam first. He is one of the Turkic people, except the first Islam first, and Islam shared through his control on the country with the Islam, and then the Turkic people, Turkic nation, all the Turkic nation accept the Islam from that his kingdom.
All right. Okay. So I think it's very interesting that you have started to share with us the history of Turkic people and also Turkestan. And you have mentioned some of the names famous of great figures within the Turkic people. So if we look, when we look at the history of the Muslims, Turkestan had played a big role in sustaining Islamic Caliphate as well as ruled many states, as you have mentioned just now. But we also would like to know more about the great figures. So can you share with us few great figures of Turkestan and what has been forgotten and what are their contribution to your people?
Okay, the peoples of Turkestan or the Turkic people in history, they become completely Muslims. All of them completely Muslims. With the power of the Abdul Karim Satkbogara Khan, the Sultan of Karkhali, his state established in after his established his kingdom, he controlled all the countries with the Islam and the Quran and Sunnah. At that time, the Muslims, Turkic Muslims, those so many things for the development of the knowledge and history. For example, one of them, you may know Yusuf Hasajib and other well-known scholars is Yusuf Hasajib. He is one of the famous scholars among the Turkic people, among the Turkic history, and also Yusuf Hasajib and Mahmud Kashgari. In Turkey, we called Kashgarli Mahmud. These two scholars is well known. His books, Yusuf Hasajib is well known. Qutadğubilik. His book is Qutadğubilik. Qutadğubilik is the well known among all the leaders with his guidelines to the political and psychologically helping the guiding the people. And Kashgarli Mahmud is one of the well-known person with his world map. First, he drew the first world map. If you can the slide, there is the map and his book Diwan Lughat Turk. His very famous his map and his Diwan Lughat Turk. The world map, the first driven world map by the Yusuf Hasajib. If you can see, one point is very interesting. When I saw it, I was shocked. The Chinese country, the world map, Chinese country is written Ard Ya'juj wa Ma'juj. If you look the map, the corner of the map, you can see with the Arabic letter Ard Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, or a land of Ya'juj wa Ma'juj. His called the China Ard Ya'juj wa Ma'juj at that time. And also his book Diwan Lughat Turk is well known. The Turkic countries in Turkic history is now the memory of Turk is the biggest book in the Turkic history and very famous book. And also we have another well-known person, especially for the Turkic history, Ahmet Yükneki and other heroes who trying to share the Islam among the Chinese people. More than the Turkic nation, they trying to share the Islam to the Chinese countries.
All right, so there is so many great figures in the history of Turkestan and the Turkish people. And many brave and contributed so much to the world. And I believe you also will be one fine day, inshallah, will be one of the great scholars and one of the great people of Turkestan and Turkish people. All right, okay, Brother Arman. Because you have mentioned just now, just before that we have said that Turkestan is being, China and Russia want Turkestan and want to gain something, gain the benefit of Turkestan, and they having very much interest in Turkestan, and also. The history has recorded that one of the reasons why China Turkestan is they are competing with Russia, because they say if they don't occupy the area, the vast area, then Russia will. So here we understand that Turkestan must have something big, something that more than just an extreme religion or ideology as what China claimed. So can you share with us untold reason or untold stories that made China's involvement in Turkestan, especially with regards to the richness of the resources in the Turkestan land?
When we look at the history of China, Chinese at the beginning, Chinese plan to invite East Turkestan goes back thousands of years. In Chinese history, East Turkestan is written as the land in the West in Chinese history, and survival and expansions of the Chinese necessities invited East Turkestan. But the point you mentioned is also important, because during the First and Second World Wars, there was very big game played in Central Asia for the greater of Turkestan. The Chinese wanted to take part in this game, and also the USA also take part this game, and also the Russia is joined, and England and other great countries. It's even though the USA tried to establish East Turkestan. We have some reports about they provide some powers to government of East Turkestan in 1933, and after that 1944. But during the Chinese occupation of East Turkestan, the USA had chosen to East Turkestan to balance in Central Asia. It was very natural for the USA to anger Russia with the initiate. For this reason, Russia told China, invite East Turkestan, and they are the ones writing in the historical books that if China had not invited, Russia would not have been able to withstand. The establishment of USA puppet country in neighbors' land, and probably have attempted to invite in East Turkestan. So, but this is what did in East Turkestan. But in our views, the conflict between the Turkey and the China, we have the historically we have China, and also the Turkic nation has historically both of us historically enemy. So most of the brothers and sisters know that China built up the Great Wall because of the Turkic nation. When the East Turkestan lived all of the Turk, and they trying to share Islam and they trying to occupy the Chinese some countries. The Chinese built the Great Wall, and nowadays Chinese well known his Great Way, and they said it's our historical place and it's our honor. They said like that, but at that time they set up built the Great Wall because the escape from the Turkic nation, and so that Chinese trying to add the East Turkestan to them, and nowadays is China said the East Turkestan belong to us. There is no place to Turk place there. At the beginning, also the East Turkestan is ours. No Turkic people lives here in this area. They try to like that, and also they, if we look the advantages of East Turkestan, natural source or other geographically benefits for the Chinese country for exporting and importing his goods, and also his Chinese in Chinese project One Belt, One Road. Most of the brothers and sisters here and knows its details. One of the biggest projects of the China. One Belt, One Road is one of the most important place for that project is East Turkestan. So that they have to erase the Uyghurs from the East Turkestan and settle the Chinese people instead of the Uyghurs. For that project, they plan to do that, yeah. So that they occupied the East Turkestan and trying to erase them the map, and also change the names of Xinjiang. If we just look at the name of Xinjiang, we can understand the main, and also we can see the background of their goals. Yeah. Shortly, this is historically strategy.
Yeah, so it
from a long time.
really talks about the importance of Turkestan to China, because as we have mentioned, that they have so much interest in that area where they have many resources and many economic interests to gain from there. So, brother, I would like.
Please, brother, one thing I would like to add. One of the biggest reason is that you can see the slide 14. East Turkestan rich in natural source. East Turkestan natural source is the biggest resource for the China. For example, produce the 60% cotton of the Chinese output. 60%, the biggest country. China is the biggest country, and all the people, all the world now, the Chinese, the rich and produce many of things. But the source of that, the East Turkestan, and other resource, gold or coal, most of them the China produce or get them from the East Turkestan. Because of these wells, China is getting to add the East Turkestan.
It's really a big economic importance for China. So if you say that cotton is one of the main economic activity in Turkestan, I believe many shirts and clothes are made in China, and probably that clothes and shirts and all those kind of attire that we wear, probably the cotton come from Turkestan.
Actually, nowadays some of the countries who work with the Chinese factories in the Chinese inner cities like Guangzhou, Shanghai, other countries well known with their trade. They covered the fact that they produce or the cotton comes from the East Turkestan, so that they cut their relations with the Chinese factories like Zara or other some of the biggest factories, biggest trends.
All right, okay, brother. We have introduced you in the beginning of the program that you have that experience being detained by the Chinese authorities, and you also been sent to the prison. So you were one of the China's prison detainees, and many people, probably from your relatives, of your friends, or many from your people, are also being captured and sent to these internment camps that hide cruelties in the camp itself. So we have also heard reports in the international media about the vocational school or the education camp. So our viewers are curious to listen to your experience and other Uyghur people, the experience in the so-called vocational school claimed by the Chinese government, or probably other experience about the discrimination, the ill treatment from the China government. So can you elaborate on this this ill treatment by the Chinese government, so probably our viewers can understand how bad or how harsh the vocational school, the so-called vocational school, so whether it is actually a school, or is it is just an concentration camp?
Okay. Let me begin with the beginning of the before the concentration camps, because the concentration camps opened in recent years, from the opened and now for the world from the 20 year 20 in 2017. Yeah. So let me begin with the history with the beginning. East Turkestan in 1933, East Turkestan Uyghur people able to set a Islamic Republic in 1933. After the collapse, that is first Islamic Republic after the collapse of the Osmanli Khalifa, and then the second time, 1944, also the Uyghurs established the East Turkestan Republic. Then in 1949, occupied East Turkestan and controlled by the China fully. From that time, China trying to change Uyghurs' identity, Uyghurs' religion, Uyghurs' habits, customs. They want to change the Uyghur and make them the Uyghur as a Chinese people. And they managed the Uyghur so hardly, cruelly, there was no freedom for the Uyghurs from that time, 1949. They trying to manage many of the habits, Uyghur Muslims habits, and they can't until 2015 until 2015, during the more than 70 years, they trying to and they did many kind of oppressions, many kind of and they did many massacres, and they killed many people, but they didn't change the Uyghurs' identity. They didn't change Uyghurs' religion. The Uyghurs live their religion. They faced with hard the situation. For example, if I say some of them, from that time, they from for example, from 1994, they they give give reward for the woman who wants to get married, the Chinese men. They give reward for the girl as a amount of money, Chinese RMB, more than 90,000 RMB, more than 90,000 RMB, and also with that amount of money, a house, the new house, for as a reward for getting married with the Chinese men. But Uyghur girls didn't accept that, and no one didn't get married with Chinese men until until a few years ago. After that, also they trying to ban it, some religious books, and burn it, all of the books, and collect the Quran and Hadith from during these years, but they can't get his goal, and they didn't change our identity and our religion. They began to open the big prisons, jails, and after before 5 years ago, they opened the concentration camps. We call the concentration camps. Some of the reports said the entertainment camps, and also Chinese said vocational training center. Also, if you see the Chinese report, they said the vocational training center. They opened many of the camps with that name, and collect the Uyghurs. If you see the slide, you can see the reasons of the you can go to the concentration camps. If you do the singers, you can do the concentration camps. So, we have 83 singers. If you do that, you can send to the concentration camps. For example, if your name, Muslim name like Abdullah or Khalid or Aisha, if you own the Quran or other singers represent the Islam, or if you have beard, you can also attend the concentration camps. And if you wear scarf, the Muslim girls wear the scarf or a long dress, you can also send the concentration camps. Many of the things, it's actually some of the things. If you hear, you can't believe. Or fasting, prayer, we didn't mention it. It's the first thing as Chinese forbidden from the that time. If you do the mosque, you can you can't go to mosque without a card. If you have a card, then you can go mosque. When I was a child, they have they have to do those. They did this system. If you don't have the card to the mosque, you can't go mosque. And if you're under the 18 years old, you can't go mosque. And also the women's can't go to mosque, and you don't read the Quran outside. And nowadays, from they open on the concentration camps, there's banned all of the things related to Islam, Islamic names, Arabic, even Arabic letters, Quran, all of them collected and burned in front of the people. And now they even banned the Arabic letters, even they related to Islam or not related to Islam, or if you write down the Arabic letters, even whatever you write, you can send the concentration camps. They opened the concentration camps for the kill the people, and based the one of organization in 2018, the Chinese government collect the more than 2 million Uyghurs in concentration camps. They have reports about it. But we estimate that more than 9 million Uyghurs detained in concentration camps. They opened these camps for killing the Uyghurs and erase the Uyghur people from the East Turkestan. And also they claimed that with their reports I mentioned before, in 2014 they claimed the Uyghur nation's population 12 million, but now 2 years ago they report the Uyghurs population 6 million, where the 3 million number of population. They report the population increasing year to year, but why the Uyghurs population decrease? Like that. Shortly, concentration camps, the name we call the concentration camps. Also, now the reports also use this word, concentration camps. Chinese opened these camps from since 5 years. They collect the Uyghurs who have religious faith, and also famous Uyghurs, and with the tiny reasons. If you can also see all of them, it's so painful things. And what's going on in these camps, I didn't tell all of that, but if you search some of the you can get some of the reports of BBC, some of our sisters who can survive those camps in recent years. One of them last year last year he can escape from the China, and he stayed in that concentration camps more than 3 months. He tells about all of the kinds of oppressions, tortures. You can't stand here that tortures, especially what they did for the Uyghur Muslim girls under the 18 years old. If you here you can stand. When I was saw first time, I can stand without even some of the things I can't tell you. So miserable things.
So yeah, it is
Sorry.
really,
Yeah.
it's really a tragedy, and it's really
Yeah.
very sad
That's
situation.
the beginning of the tragedy. I forgot my personal stories, and when I was a child, Chinese government trying to ban the learning Quran and learning Islamic knowledge. And China, in East Turkestan, we haven't any Islamic schools. We don't generally. We can't learn Islam, and we can't study Islam in our schools. We have to go Chinese government school and Chinese schools teach us the Chinese language and other Chinese habits. But we trying to learn Quran and Sunnah underground. If someone wants to teach something, they 5 or 6 people came a room, and one of our brothers and sisters' house, his underground rooms. We came here and we learn Quran and Sunnah like that, without any. Even we can't take the Quran outside. We can pray outside. At like that situation, we learned Quran. We learned Islam. Also, I recite all of the Quran when I was 11 years old. In like that situation. But after 2010, Chinese also know the way we learn the Quran, we learn the Islamic knowledge. Then they banned all of the things, and they began to search all of the place might we can learn Quran even on the ground and on a roof of the house. So after 2010, I stopped my learning Quran and learning Islamic knowledge, and I start to learn English in other city. And at that time, one day I was arrested by the police, and also I was interrogated by the police whole 2 days, night and day. I was beaten, and many of kinds of tortures they did for me. Just the reason they asked me 2 years ago, you entered you joined the group on the internet. Its name's Islamic knowledge. I didn't remember. I couldn't remember that thing, but they just said me, you have prison for more than 3 years. were feared about and then we paid a lot of money for them, and then I can come back my home. And after 5 years later, in 2015, I also arrested from the police. This time, without any crime or without any reason. When I was staying with some of my friends and we just talking and eating something, the police, a lot of police came and they captured our hands and foots with the chains, and they took me to the prison, and I was interrogated continually 32 days, 32 days, night and day. My hands, and my legs captured with the chains, very heavy chains. They asked me, why did you learn English? What's your goal? Did you want to divide the Chinese state? Why did you learn English? Just asked me this question, and I faced many of tortures. They beat me with the electric stick. Maybe I don't know, electric sticks with kinds of. They have a stick, a small thing, but they have electric. If the touch the one's body, it will. Some of time, I felt I am out of my mind. I lost my mind, and I stayed. After that, I stayed more than 2 months. The condition of the prison in that time, in 2015, we stayed more than 25 people. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have 28 people in the small, not room, cell. They call cell. We stayed 28 people. We From the morning to night, we just stayed like we stayed in tashahhud, in the pray, and our hands and foots captured with the chains, more than 10 kilograms. And another thing is the most bad things that if you want to go to the toilet, you can also go with the chains, and there is no toilet in that cells. Whole 2 months. In corner of the cell, there is glass. Just they use the glass in the corner of the room. Everyone in the room can see you. If you want to look the wall, they can allow to go to toilet. You must have to look the people, and you go to toilet. And the bad thing is that, and others, if you move a small in your place, that would be reason to your punish. And I was also punished because of that. Because if you stay from morning to night without moving, without controlling, you can sometimes more some. So some of some of our brothers present because of their births. I saw some. I saw that at that time a brother, his age or the 80 or the 80. He has a bird. He present 5 years, and others, our brothers in that prison, he sent some message about the Islam, the group, like WhatsApp group. They have a WeChat program in use in the East Turkestan and China. He sent the message in Uyghur language related to Islam. He present 7 years, and also some of their stories so miserable. Yeah, one of the Uyghur brothers, he take picture with the like that with his finger with the Chinese police saw the picture, and even he didn't know pry. He usually he didn't pry, and because of that picture he present 3 years. The many things you can't imagine maybe cause your prison, and also the prison situation is so bad, and you can't imagine if I tell all of the details. Also, you can't imagine, because it's not impossible. Most of the brothers and sisters, how is it say if we say the details? How is it possible? But I saw and I faced with my own, and the situation is now the worse than in 2014. If you ask the sisters came in recent years, last year or this year, he saw the tortures and oppressions. The people can't believe, like when I was that prison, we stayed with the men's, but now they in the concentration camps, the Chinese collect the men's and women's together in the same room. Subhanallah, the scene is so painful, and other kinds of rapes for the young girls, and forced abortion, and yeah, it's so miserable, and they practice with their bodies and organ harvesting in that camps. Subhanallah, the things are so painful.
Yeah, mashallah. It's hard to hear your stories, and what more you are facing the very harsh condition yourself and your people themselves. So we pray that you and your people remain patient, and with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be victorious, inshallah. So it's very tragic. It's very to hear that, and I implore and I urge our fellow Muslims, and especially brothers and sisters, in your prayers to keep Uyghur people in your prayers, in your nights, in your days, in your fast, so that may Allah give them the steadfastness and the patience and remain their struggle and be victorious, inshallah. But brother, you mentioned just now that this treatment from the Chinese government became harsher and severe, more brutal within a few years ago. And also, I also hear from news from the international media that after, if I'm not mistaken, in 2014, there was a bombing which killed about 30 people in China. And then after that happens, then they become more brutal towards the Uyghur people. So does it, because of the elements of extremism or from certain people that made the Chinese government reacts? Do you agree with some claims that it is about extremism or terrorism that China want to crack down, that they become harsh towards the Uyghur people?
That's it's so good question. If I honest, and in this control everything. If you look the slide 36, you can see one of them. The woman cut some onion, or he holding a knife with the chain. East Turkestan like that. East Turkestan like that. If you buy a knife, you can your ID number is on the knife with the QR code or other things. Everything is controlled by the China. If also your phone also you have to download an application. It's controlled by the police station. They know where whatever you do and where you go. All your things and all your activities controlled and known by the Chinese government. They know all the things about the Uyghurs. Without that things, they can every time they can know Uyghurs are doing with the cameras, all the stories. The East Turkestan full of the cameras, and in that situation, who's can able to do that events, and they Chinese government trying to show the Uyghur people as terrorism or extremism. When I was arrested, they also called me when my card in that prison separatism. They called me separatism. I just study English. I didn't anything against the China, and I didn't a small thing against China, or even I didn't show the Chinese police, but they called me. This person is wants to separate the China state, and his crime is the separatism. And also one person, his child's name Khadija or Aisha. It's enough to extremism or radicalism in these days. That's the Chinese government. And if if you see the after the 2014, give the people passport. Before that, no one can get passport. As I said, they trying to change their religious and their identity, but they can't. After that, they plan on to something, and in 2014, they give passport to Uyghurs, just 2 years, 2014 and 2015. 15 and beginning of the 2016, they give passport some people, and they go, if we give the Uyghurs passport, they when they US set up the ISIS in Iraq, the Uyghurs go out and join that group, join that ISIS, and I'll the Chinese plan that after the Uyghurs join that terrorist groups in Syria and other Iraq like that, after that we can easily erase and kill and arrest and prison Uyghurs with the crime of extremism, terrorism, and we can share the news. Look, the Uyghurs in Iraq and Syria, they joined the ISIS and other countries. They are terrorists, so that we have tortured, we present, and we train it with the vocational training centers, and we opened. They are doing right now. They're doing right now. But in actually the Uyghurs, Uyghur people in East Turkestan, even doing like that events, they can't go out in their village without any permission of the police station, and they can't buy more than a knife, and also they can't use a knife without the chain. The chain, also they can take the knife and other facilities they use in their homes, can't take them in outside. They how can will be do the events?
So it's not
Actually,
possible.
actually, China time to time trying to do some plans with the Uyghurs and Chinese, with showing the Uyghurs as tourism. For example, in 2009, you can also hear the news, the Urumche Massacre. Urumche Massacre, it's explored with the reason China forced the Uyghur girls to work in inner cities of China. The girls go there and they work. When they work, when they work in Chinese men came their dormitory, and some of them trying to rape the Uyghur girls. At that time, the Uyghur boys, Uyghur Uyghur guys around that dormitory, they came to help, and they just helped them to stop the rape the Uyghur girls in there. And after that, they shared the news. The Uyghurs are killing the Chinese people in there. And after that, China in Urumche city out the streets, and the Uyghurs also go out the streets from the protect the girls and boys in that place. After that, the China helping them, the Chinese people, to kill the Uyghurs. If the people, Uyghur people, go outside, they detained and arrest the Uyghur people. If they go out, the Chinese people, they didn't say anything. After 3 days, they arrest more than 10,000 people and killed in among the 5 days more than 5,000 people. They also called in this event Uyghurs extremism events. They want to separate the Xinjiang. They want to do something. But all of the world and also know that is what did the Chinese government is a massacre. In Turkish President Erdogan also said that time that's the actually that's massacre for the Uyghurs. Like that, from the many years they trying to do show the Uyghurs as a tourism.
So it is an allegation and fitna, we can say.
Yeah.
Yes, you said that it's not possible to carry out such heinous acts where even you want to buy a knife, they will track you.
Yeah.
And so they have been detained so many people. So it's not possible to carry out, to do such terror act. So brother, we would like to.
When, from my childhood to the when I go out from the East Turkestan, I couldn't a gun or a gun in one of our brothers' hand. Just I saw from that the Chinese police hand. There is no gun or other, even knives also we can't use.
All right, brother. Many people have, compare the situation of Uyghur people with the Palestinian. So many of the international community have understood that what has happened in Palestine is an apartheid. It is ethnic cleansing, colonization, and violation of international law. So for Uyghur crisis, what would you define this case so that many Malaysian viewers here will be able to get a crystal clear picture of our Muslim brothers and sisters' current condition in Turkestan?
A case or a Turkestan issue isn't well known for the world, especially Muslim worlds can't know about more information as like Palestine case. There are so many reasons. One of them, Chinese controlled all of the things, especially in media and internet, all of them controlled by China in East Turkestan. If I say most of the brothers can't believe, but in China, I can't, in East Turkestan, I can't use the Facebook, I can't saw. I didn't saw the Google, YouTube, all of them are not in East Turkestan. We can't see if you buy a iPhone 11 or iPhone X like that, you can't download YouTube application or Facebook application or Instagram or WhatsApp. You can download these applications in East Turkestan. And also, if you try to contact with the outside, the China at that time, at the same time, if you have to called outside. The Chinese police, after 3 or 2 minutes later, the Chinese police came to you and took to you the prison for a long years. That's enough to you. And so that so many brothers and sisters didn't know real information and truth about the Uyghur brothers and sisters, and also Muslim brothers can't believe the Uyghurs' situation at the real because the operations doing the Chinese government to the Uyghurs and unbelievable things. If the brothers say China is doing these things for the Muslims, they can't believe, or some of them they didn't want to believe the things because they are so miserable things. If you talk about the raping your sisters and Islamic brothers and other things, if your Quran, your holy books are burning, and in the holy month Ramadan, the Muslims can't fasting and can't pray, can't wear hijab, can't wear as a Muslim. They even can't have a beard like that. So many of brothers and sisters they need know more information about the Uyghur Muslims and East Turkestan. One of the biggest reason is the media and all of the things with the controlling Chinese government, and other thing is that because of the Chinese control the Muslim countries, especially like Egypt and Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, like these countries, they trying to share something about the Uyghurs. They are terrorists, or they are trying to separate the China, or they are trying to kill people in like that, or they every time trying to showing the Uyghurs as a terrorism. And the Muslim world, some of them believe the Chinese reports instead of believing the real information, the truth. So that the East Turkestan issue until now it's not well known in the world, but after the 2017 China began to open the concentration camps and hardly political systematically read on the Uyghurs. Some of our brothers can escape the Chinese, and they share their stories and things in the prisons, in the concentration camps. The news shared with the Western medias and with the US medias like BBC or other CNN like that. The world are beginning to know this information. So that because of that, the Muslims misunderstood the issue, the Uyghur situation against China. So the problem is also in the Turkey people. If we say that we have some problems in East Turkestan like that, and they said the American media said that they use the Uyghurs issue against China. It's not the truth. They said that. That's unfortunately that's not true. That they just maybe they use the Uyghurs issue against China, but the truth worse than the media says.
Okay,
I think,
so,
yeah.
so brother, you have mentioned about the countries with regards that doesn't really support the Uyghurs cause. So there are not many countries and people that are fighting for Uyghurs' rights and cause as for Palestinian, and because if we look into the Muslim countries as well, we can say that many Muslim countries openly support the Palestinian rights and causes, but that is not the case for the Uyghur people. So, what is your opinion on this problem? Because we can see that the supporters or the countries that champions the Uyghurs cause and struggle is US, UK, and Japan and Turkey. So not many of them is from Muslim countries. So what is your opinion on this problem that Muslim countries can vocally support Palestinian but not for Uyghur people?
I think there are so many reasons. At the beginning, the Palestine, our holy place, and it has Qudus, the second Qibla of Muslims, and also third holy place. Because of that, most of the Muslims are think the Palestinian Muslims issue more than the other issues. It's responsibility of the Muslims religiously. And another thing is that East Turkistan's issue is the begin to know the world and open it the world newly. Actually, East Turkestan occupied the same year with Palestine. But from that time to 2010, most of even they didn't know Uyghur. There is a nation. His name is Uyghur, and there is a land. Its name is East Turkestan. They didn't know. Most of the people didn't know. But after 2010. After the operation of China, they began to know the information about East Turkestan. So I think they haven't enough information about the Uyghur Muslims and the oppressions there, and also the Muslim countries can't take care of the issue. The other Western countries, so that Muslims, I think most of the Muslims can't mention the issue because the non-Muslim people every time and every news or every events they talk the Uyghurs and they talk the Uyghur oppressions and the tortures to the Uyghurs facing from the Chinese government. So some of our brothers and sisters misunderstand the problem, the issue. And the recent years, Western countries began to recognize the issues East Turkestan case as a genocide. At the beginning, U.S. Parliament also accept this issue. The Uyghur Chinese is doing what is the Chinese doing as a genocide. Also in Canada also accept this, and also other Holland. I think France also is one of them, and Western countries, most of them recognize and accept these issues, and Muslim countries didn't accept and stand with China, and this is one of the things Muslims can get information about the East Turkestan and Uyghur Muslims, and also I think the scholars and the sheikhs also have the responsibility of these problems, these issues. If they talk about the Uyghurs issue and Chinese oppression to Uyghurs in their lectures, in their speech, it will be share more people, and it will be read more Muslims. And if someone hears some news from a person who believe that, they will believe and they will do something for that. And nowadays, most of the Muslim countries and also the Islamic scholars also so muted for the Uyghur issue. So that because of these problems, Uyghurs issue, East Turkestan's information, it's not well known among the Muslim brothers. So I hope our brothers in Malaysia can help us to share the Uyghurs issue, Uyghur case to their brothers and sisters around, and help us, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. We also hope that this program will be the kickstart or the start of spread of information about the Uyghur people and Uyghur crisis. So I think that is all the question from me. So we will see if we have. It's actually we have passed 10:15 in Malaysia and probably about 5:15 in Turkey. So we will see if we have we have go for in this last session more than 2 hours. I thought it was going to be 1 hour and a half. So yes, it was good discussion and good information that we have today. So probably we can accept the longer hours. So I have one question.
If I did some mistakes, I will ask the forgiveness of our brothers and sisters. This is my third time to give speech in English, so that my English is not so as high level. So if I did some mistakes, please forgive me.
It's okay. We still can stand you, inshallah. The most important thing is the information is relayed perfectly, inshallah. So I think we have one question from the audience. It's actually you have mentioned about in the early session of your presentation, you said that the Great Wall of China is built by China because of they are afraid of the Turkish people. So what do the Turkish people have at that time that China is so scared and so afraid of the Turkish people, because the Great Wall of China is so big and so vast, and it becomes very known around the world of the big and the greatness of the wall. So what is China so scared about Turkish people so that they built the Great Wall of China?
I can't remember the certain years, but before the BC, yeah, not before the occupation of East Turkestan, the Uyghurs also guide the Chinese kingdom for many years. At that time, also in Turkic history, there is some research about it. Chinese kingdoms, they have three kingdoms at that time. They fear the comes from the Uyghur state to the Chinese inner countries, and also they try to follow the Chinese areas border with the border of Turkestan, so that China built the Great Wall at that time. And I can't remember the certain years, but it had the facts in the Turkic history. But Chinese denied the facts. Also, if you read the Chinese history, you're very shocked. Last year I read something about the from the Chinese professor, his writers, a famous professor in one of the university in Chinese, well-known university. He wrote something about the Turkic history. Turkic people learned the China, the Turkic letters at the actually. In the real fact, Chinggis Khan, in the pride of Chinggis Khan, Uyghurs teach them to how to write the letters. We call the Chagatai language, Chagatai. And the Uyghurs at that time teach the Chinggis Khan that letter to write with other countries and other in his war. But Chinese, this fact, all the historians know. But the Chinese professor write like that. It's so funny.
So the Uyghur people actually have so many undiscovered or untold story and history and stories.
Yes.
So it is.
Yes. You mentioned the very important thing. Yeah, the Chinese came to East Turkestan, and they came to occupied the East Turkestan. They collect all the books and burn it all the books, and so that was our history with that method. They burned and erased our history like that. So that if we find something about the Uyghurs history and the old things, we can find most of the time. But also we can know with the resource of in Turkey.
All right. Okay. So that's a very enlightening facts that we have here today. So I think we don't have any other question from our viewers and our audience. But however, we have listen to you with so many information and with so many insights and new infos that we have from you. So I really appreciate, and on behalf of our Malaysian viewers and audience, we also thank you for this opportunity to hear from you and from your experience, and also all the information that we haven't got from anywhere else. And also I think after listening to you, brother, it has become very clear to us that it is a very grave issue, and as Malaysian and other people in our audience today, we must make sure that we do our utmost effort to share and disseminate the information we acquired today. We pray for all persons affected by this systematic repression by Chinese government. We hope their families will be reunited, the people's right will be upheld, and all the camps and buildings that are detaining the Uyghurs will be closed. Brother, we are going to finish our program shortly, so I will give you to have some last words to our viewers, if you want.
First of all, I would like to appreciate with my inner hearts. Thank you, all of you guys, to give me this opportunity, and our dear viewers also. In East Turkestan's issue, it's not the issue or problems other countries or other Muslims. I think there is no Muslims, or no, there is no animals are facing the problems, facing the tortures like the Uyghur Muslims are facing in these days. Maybe I can't explain some of the things in the right way, but I would like to share my personal stories, and also many of our brothers living outside in exile, and also some of our brothers also live in Malaysia and other countries, and in Turkey also we have so many Uyghur brothers and sisters. Since I go out from the East Turkestan, since I came to the Turkey, I just contact with my family for a year. From 2017, I lost my contact with my family. From that time, I can't hear my mother's voice. I tried many times to get contact with them, but I can't. Some of brothers ask, is there a phone in East Turkestan? But yes, there is phone. Or there is the East Turkestan is a very developed country. I think more than the Istanbul. More than developed in Istanbul, but China controlled the area completely. So if I call my mother, if my mother outside, they came to and take my mother's to prison, because the contact with the outside is the big crime for the Uyghurs, so that I lost my contact with 5 years, for 5 years, and I couldn't hear my mother's voice, and I don't have any idea about it. And last year, brothers, last year I got married, and even in that day, I have tried with my all efforts to give uh, this happy news for my parents if they alive, if they outside, but I can't. Imagine if a person whose parents alive and he can't call for them, he can't talk with them, he can't say hello or assalamu alaikum. This is so miserable things. And when I was a child, my mother wear a scarf, and also my mother is very religious woman. Also, I have three sisters, all of them very educated women. All of them recite the Quran. And last year, I saw some of my sisters' picture. Uh, they don't have scarves on their heads. If you look them, you can say they are not Muslims. You can say, if I say they are my sisters, they are Muslim, you can't believe me, because their appearance not like the Muslims. Chinese forced the Muslims in East Turkestan, and they live like that. They live like that. They detained more than 8 million people to concentration camps, and outside the Muslims live like that. They live as a Chinese. They live as a Chinese, and Uyghur girls forced to get married with the Chinese man, and also they forced to leave a house with the Chinese people. They forced to eat fork or haram foods. The oppressions the Uyghur Muslims are facing, you can't imagine. If I say the details, maybe you can think it's so failing words or exaggerated, but that's the truth, brothers. Please stand with the Uyghurs and support the Uyghur Muslims, and share the truth around with the sisters around us. And please make dua, pray for the Uyghurs, pray for the Uyghurs for Palestine or other brothers in other areas. That's my last words. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah, inshallah, it is so heartbreaking to hear all the stories that you have tell us. So I believe it is our responsibility as fellow Muslim brothers and sisters to at least disseminate the information, to spread the awareness, and also to make sure our prayer is with the Uyghur people and all the oppressed Muslim in the world. And so I hope this program, which is held today, is a sign of our support and solidarity with the Uyghur fighting the ill treatment, discrimination, and subjugation of the Chinese government. So I also urge and implore our viewers today, and probably we will share this recording, because we are recording this live session, and we will also hope everyone who watch the recording of this live session will also take the benefit of information and all the awareness given to us, and make sure that we give our prayer, we give our support, we give our solidarity, even though we are in Malaysia, and we have to make sure that the information and the awareness spread to all around us, and probably one fine day we can urge our government to show their support to the Uyghur people. We also pray, like I said just before, we pray for all the people that affected, person that being affected or being oppressed and in this repression. Inshallah, we pray for victory of the Uyghur people, and all their rights will be upheld, and also they will return to their lands and will be reunited with their families, and also the oppression will fall, and the person who is behind all of this, or the system behind all of this, will crumble and also will be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. So again, we thank you, our speaker, Brother Arman Abdullah, and we also
brother.
Yeah, we also very appreciate your involvement and your participation, your willingness to be with us today. Although we are 1,000 miles away, but we are connected with our iman, inshallah. And it was a very fruitful and eye-opening discussion, inshallah. If we have, inshallah, if Allah permits us, we will see you again, inshallah, next time. So on behalf of all the audience and also the organizer, we sincerely thank you for your insight and for your involvement with us. So to all audience and viewers out there, I thank you all of you. I hope all of you is in good health, and we pray together for the Uyghur people. See you next time. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
We are here to say no, no, no.